Benvenuto. Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Well, today Wade and I made our annual pilgrimage to the apple orchard that I have been going to since I can remember. It's in Western Massachusetts. No matter where we've lived in New England, every year for the last 30 years, him and I have gone out to Brookfield Orchards and spent the day and bought apples and went through the antique store and bought antiques and honeycomb and you name it. We have a ball there. Today, one of my great finds was I got myself a new old bowl. I love old pottery. This is from California Pottery. I haven't done any research into it, but I love it. Anyway, so as you can see, what's inside that bowl is apples. So today I thought we would make an apple crisp, or you might call it an apple crumble. You might call it an apple cobbler. Now, believe it or not, technically all three of them are something different. And this recipe is a kind of combination of all three of them. An apple crumble, which is what they would cook in or make most in the UK. That's what most people from the UK would know it as apple crumble. And an apple crumble, the difference between an apple crumble and an apple crisp is there is no oats and generally no nuts in an apple crumble, where in an apple crisp, which is what we make mostly here in the US, or an apple cobbler, that does have oats and sometimes some type of nuts. But anyway, so my recipe is to combine them all. So I think we're going to call it an apple crumble, but we'll call it an apple crispy crumble because in my topping, we'll go over that in a minute. I'll tell you how we make it. But anyway, so of course it's an apple crumble. So the main ingredient is apples. And in my opinion, Massachusetts are the best apples in the country. I'm sure everybody won't agree with that. Now, we happen to have Honeycrisp. That's one of our favorite apples. And they do have their own Honeycrisp apple trees in Brookfield Orchard. But you can use really any kind of apple you want. Most people would use Granny Smith. They're a little bit better known as a baking apple. But truthfully, you can use any apple you like. Macintosh, because Macintosh might be a little bit more softer of an apple. But I like to make them with the Honeycrisp. Okay, the hardest part about making any kind of apple crumble, crisp, or cobbler is peeling it. So I just thought I'd show you what I do. And then we'll go over the ingredients, okay? So let's get this out of the way. So for this recipe, you're going to need, this is going to be in an 8x8, 8x9 square pan. If you want to, if you're going to be feeding a much bigger crowd and you want to do it in a 9x12 or a 9x13, just double the recipe is exactly as it is. If you do double the apples, that'll be perfect for a 9x12. So anyway, so of course I have washed my apples only because I'm going to be handling them as I peel them. Another thing, some people don't peel them. I happen to like them better peeled, but I am by no means a skilled peeler, but that's the way I find it easiest. Actually, I find it easiest to go the other way. Is just take a regular potato or apple peeler. If you're really skilled and you can do this with a sharp knife, hats off to you. But I'm not. And of course, you want to try to take as little as you peel. Oh, I'm sorry, I started rambling. So you want about 3.5 to 4 pounds of apples for this recipe for the 8.5 by 8. I'm sorry, 8x8 pan. And so I do as much as I can get much of the peel off. All right, then put that over there for now. So it's difficult to core an apple. If you've got an apple core, use it. I know I have one. I never liked using it. I was going to dig through my drawer and find it, but I didn't do that. So I just cut it in half. All right. And then so we don't waste too much of it, I bring it as close to the core as I can. Cut it again and again. I always kind of feel, make sure I got all of the core out. It does waste a little bit more than if you did it with a corer, but I don't think it really wastes all that much. Now, again, depending upon how soft you want your apples and the type of apple is going to depend upon how you cut them. Again, over the years, we've gotten it to, I like the apples cut relatively thin. So the thinner you cut them, the softer they're going to be, and the faster they'll cook. So, you know, I would say probably about that thickness right there is about how I like them. I don't know if you can see it. Wade's giving me a funny look. I'm moving all over the camera. All right, again, it's going to depend upon really how much you like it. And then, of course, you can determine how baked you want the apples, depending upon how long you cook them. So anyway, that's the easiest way I have ever found peeling apples. And of course, you can also do this the exact same way if you're making an apple pie. All right.
Smells good.
Those they do smell delicious. Truth be told, I have been eating a few pieces here and there as we went along. We also went to one of our annual haunts, again, at some place that I've been going to since I was a young child, and Wade has been going with me now for 30 years, is a place called Hot Dog Annie's. And it's just this little roadside hot dog stand that's been there since my grandmother was a teenager. So it's been there a long, long time. All right, so before we go over the rest of the ingredients, I'm just going to finish these up. So then we need to, probably going to need in total about 2 tablespoons of onions. I already did put some onion, sorry, thank you. That would be awful. Lemon. So let's squeeze about. Going to need about the juice of the half a lemon. All right. That'll give you a little bit more tartness to the apple. Honeycrisp are really sweet. Anyway, they're sweeter than definitely a Granny Smith apple. But we're still not going to, so we're not going to put that much sugar in anyway. But all right, so then I just want to give that a toss so those don't turn any browner than they need to. All right, so on to the rest of the ingredients. Really easy. We need some cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and ground nutmeg. If you prefer, I have, you could use that apple pie spice in here, or even pumpkin pie spice. I like it with the combination of the cinnamon and the nutmeg. So we need cinnamon, nutmeg. We need we're going to need 1/4 cup of sugar for our apples. Now I like to make a little drizzle instead of just throwing my butter, flour, and the milk. Oops, I forgot vanilla. We're also going to need some vanilla extract. We'll go through that again, but you're going to need a little bit of all-purpose flour, some milk, and 3 tablespoons of melted butter. That's going to be for our filling. All right, for the crumble or the topping, the crisp, the crumble, we need half a stick of butter. Now, one thing, guys, you can, if you want, you can use brown sugar or light brown sugar in the apples. Because we have a lot of brown sugar in the topping in this recipe, I always use white sugar. So you're going to need a cup of packed dark brown sugar. You're going to need a cup of very finely chopped pecans. You show better when we pour them in. All right. And then you're going to need some flour, half a cup of all-purpose flour again. That's going to be for our topping. Now, one of the reasons I like this recipe is you don't have to cut the butter in. I'm actually going to do it in the KitchenAid. If you have you can do it by hand or do it by hand mixer. You don't have to have a stand mixer. All right, I think we've gone over everything. I'm going to kind of clean this up a little bit, and we'll be back. Okay, so in this bowl, we've got our 4 large apples, or about 2.5 to 3 pounds of apples, all sprinkled with our lemon juice in there. And then I've got 3 tablespoons. I'm pretty sure it's 3 tablespoons. Of course, wait till I have the recipe online on the video for you. And then I've got 2 tablespoons of flour. And I like to put those in the butter and mix it up well.
2 tablespoons of what?
God, I can't keep my mind straight. It's all those hot dogs and cinnamon apples that we had. And what else have we had? Hot dogs, cinnamon apples, you name it, we've eaten it today. We have gone off our diet. And it's late in the night. Well, not late, it's early evening. But anyway, so I like to put the butter and the flour in and get it all mixed up nice. All right? Then we've got our milk and our vanilla. Give that a mix. And we got our cinnamon and nutmeg. Why do I do it this way, guys? I guess you could just go ahead and sprinkle everything in there. But to me, this makes sure that everything gets nicely coated when we mix it in our apples. You're not going to have, more cinnamon on one bite and more nutmeg and so on and so forth. Then we've got our 1/4 cup of white sugar. We're just going to mix that all up nice. It smells delicious. I just want to take a big spoonful. But see, so nothing to that. Our flour is nicely dissolved in there. Get all our sugar in there. So we've kind of made like a drizzle to drizzle over our apples. And we're going to do just that. Make sure you get all that deliciousness out. And then we're going to toss our apples in our beautiful apple drizzle. Of course, the flour is going to help, thicken it up a little bit. It's not going to be really, really thick, but it will help thicken your juices up a bit. Okay, I'm going to put that aside for just a minute. We've got a 8x8 pan. Put a little bit of butter. We're not going to put any additional butter on the top, or at least I don't. Some people like to dab butter around the top of it. This recipe with the butter, the 1/2 cup butter on the strudel, which of course is going to make its way all through our yummy apples. I'm going to put that over there. Okay, so for our topping, I'm going to drag Mr. KitchenAid over here. And I'm going to put my butter in there. Get our flour. I'm going to give that just a little tiny spin, just to incorporate it a bit in there. That's soft butter, room temperature bud. And we'll just kind of let that crumble itself up. Now, if we were doing an apple crisp, you really almost have to cut the butter in with your hands for it to come out the way that you want it to. But in this particular recipe, our pecans are going to give us that little bit of crunch too. All right, and then I'm going to put our well-packed cup of brown sugar in. Get that incorporated in there. And we want that to we want it to get well mixed. It's going to get crumbly. But again, we want all the butter and the sugar to grab a hold of each other and do their magic. So kind of the big distinction between an apple crumble and an apple crisp is the kind of UK version of it. If it's more of a strudel than a crisp. But they would then just put this on top of the apples. But of course, we do everything better. So we're going to add in our nice... Oop. Now, I did not chop these. I just want to show you how finely chopped they are. No, I did not spend hours chopping those up. I bought finely chopped pecans. You could also use walnuts if you prefer, or if you have some kind of allergic to pecans. But that's really all that is to that. We're going to get those nicely incorporated in there. And that's really all there is to that. I see a little chunk of butter there, so I'm going to spin it around another 30 seconds or so. But I don't want to mix it so much that it starts to get clumpy and just forms a ball. And I'll wash my hands, all that butter off now, because I should be done getting them dirty. And did I tell them that we greased our pan? Yeah, we did it on camera, right? Anyway, guys, just in case I didn't, I can't remember. You got, okay, good. So we got our, now hopefully, all the apples are going to fit in there. And they're going to. And you kind of want to get them, you don't have to, get them try to be in a layer. You don't want them lying on top of each other opposed to sticking up. Just so that they kind of cook evenly. So we've got our oven preset to 375. Oops. We got one more scraggler in there. Well, I am going to get my hands dirty because I'm going to go in there and get our chopping. And then you just want to kind of let it fall down into any of the cracks or spaces in the pie, or your, not pie, your apples. And it might not look like you're going to use it all, but you're going to use it all because you want it to fall down there. And of course, I did get some delicious vanilla ice cream since this is our free day today. Since we've been doing our videos, we've been steadily just putting on a few pounds here and there. And of course, the COVID and being closed in hasn't helped either. So we've really been trying to cut down and watch what we're eating. But for our YouTube family, we do anything, even if it's eat a whole apple crisp. All right. So that's basically it. Now I am going to take a little extra precaution and put a sheet pan under that just in case we have any spillage. Not that my oven is clean, but it will help a bit. And we'll put some, oh, that is not the tinfoil I wanted. That's the non-stick tin foil. That's the expensive kind. We don't need it for this, but all right. So Wade's going to come over to the oven with us, and like I said, we've got our oven set at 375. We're going to put this in. I always forget to turn the light on for him. We're going to put this in the oven, middle rack, and that's going to take anywhere between 35 and 45 minutes. Again, depending upon how thick you've, how thick of a layer you've made of the apples in the pan you've used. So in other words, if you used a 9x9 pan, your apples are going to be here. They're going to be a little thinner, so they're going to cook faster. Also, what kind of apples you've used. And most importantly, how soft you like the apples. But we do want to get our topping nice golden brown and delicious. So, okay, Google, set a timer for 35 minutes.
Sure, 35 minutes, starting now.
We'll come back, we'll check on them for 35 minutes, and if they need a few more minutes, we'll put them in for a few more minutes, and then we'll get our vanilla ice cream out and have some apple crumble. See you in a little while. Okay, it's been 35 minutes. Let's give it a quick check. The top is definitely golden brown. And we're just gonna check the apples. I think my apples need about another 5 minutes. So we're gonna put it back in the oven for 5 minutes. See you then. Okay, I've given it another 5 minutes. It should be just how I want it. I'm gonna take it out. You can see we're nice and bubbling all over. All right, let's see. Yep, that's just about where I want it. All right, now, clustered apple crisp is, or an apple crumble, or an apple cobbler. I'm doing that. I'm trying to see if somebody realizes how many times I changed the name. Jojo will probably know. But anyway, so an apple crumble is usually served warm, but not piping hot right from the oven. So we're going to let it cool down for about 10 minutes, and then we can all enjoy it. See you in a little while. Okay, we're back. Let's dig in.
Oh my goodness.
Love that.
The apples are soft.
That is caramely aroma.
Wow. That's good. That's delicious.
Yummy. Of course, apple crumble goes very well with vanilla ice cream. Oh, delicious. Well,
Yep.
hope you guys have enjoyed watching us make our creation today. Hopefully you'll try it yourself. If you do, let us know. That's all I can say.
For change. Please like and subscribe and check out cherryhillhomecooking.com. See you in the next video.
Ciao.
Bye.
Oh, I think it tastes delicious.
I do too.
Yeah, we just got the apple a little more tender.
Wow. The crumble.
Delicious. Vanilla?
And nuts.